Unique and,
Very good.
All right. First item. You should do your gavel. And Shaw, I got the floor. Thank you.
I got the
I
side.
need a motion to accept the minutes of 7/19, by Jen, second by Tim. Any additions or corrections? All in favor? Carried. Carried.
Okay, I'll like to start off with the reports. The cybersecurity report is probably at the top of your packet. The report is similar to what we've been doing. We've added a little bit more detail into the email, the inbound email, kind of give you guys an idea. And then another topic, kind of just changed it around a little bit. So from the email perspective, what this is showing you is the inbound email and how it breaks down so you can get an idea of how much of the email that comes in is actually filtered out as bad. So about less than half of what we're receiving, or around half in some months, is what actually comes through as good email. And even some of those, we have our human firewall that has to give us some protection against that. The hot topic that we put up for current events for this month, it's been actually in the news quite a bit, I've seen it, is pig butchering. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's not the best name for it. But essentially what it is people being taken advantage of and scammed by other people. So they will contact them and become friends, or maybe in a romantic aspect, and then get them or trust, and then they invest their money, all their money, sometimes in crypto, and then they take it, they're robbed, they take everything that they have. So it's a really big thing.
Should have been named derived from Bring Home the Bacon or what?
Yeah,
No, I love that, and then the other ones up here for snort.
yeah,
They're an investigative breakdown, got snort.
yep. Not related, but yes. Did anybody have any questions on the cybersecurity report at all?
I personally had viewed this month myself.
Yeah.
And they've gotten a little bit more sophisticated. I mean, thankfully, I want to thank you and your team, because if it wasn't for your training, I don't know that I would have caught the ones that I caught, because they have definitely gotten better at what they're doing. So please keep the training up, because it is working.
Absolutely. And I agree with you there. And one of the things that's going to make it even more challenging is AI.
Yeah.
Because the language barrier from some of the emails that are written and the spear phishing attempts just become better, because they have AI now to rely on to be able to write and craft emails in a way that sounds.
And I know one of the ones I sent to Ryan was only because of one phrase in a sentence that caught my suspicion, the way that it was worded.
Yep.
So they've definitely gotten better at what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And no matter how many things you put in place, with security, in my opinion, is like an onion, right? You have layers and layers and layers. And somebody has to get through all the layers to get through. But one of the final layers is the human firewall. And that is where the training and the protection comes in to an environment. We're only as safe as the people that are receiving the emails that come from things. In the end.
Unfortunately, it like, when you get so many emails from people you don't recognize in the shop, like, then you get, well, why didn't you show up? Oh, I didn't get.
Right.
Didn't know you, or you had a weird, the business name had a weird subtitle,
Yep.
and you don't even answer it. I just ignore those if I don't know.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. It's challenging for
It
sure.
is a challenge, but I'd rather do that.
Any other questions?
The next report I'll look at is the ticketing report. On the ticketing report, I don't know if anybody has any questions on that.
So maybe this is the first time I'm realizing it, which is bad, but how does IT have 28% of the, I mean, 100% of the tickets, because they all come to them?
Right.
Why is it 27%?
So the way that we break it down is if somebody calls and reports an issue, has a password lockout or has a problem with their computer, then it'll go under that department that's reporting it. If there are projects that IT is working on, then we put it under IT. So with projects or with items that IT initiates that are not reported by an end user, we put those under the IT department.
So these are ones that are under your own auspice, you found them, you're doing them without getting.
Brian, we then take these percentages and Roger's percentages and apply it in sort of indirect cost report too. So we're able to recover money for DSS and public health through these allocations, so they are important. And so,
I'm quite asking about DSS, but it looks like, youth girl something on, there's something specific down there that's.
Yeah, so Youth Bureau is one of the a few departments that has much custom software. So almost our entire department runs on custom databases that we built here. They're one of the last. But there's been a lot of effort put into that.
Are we transitioning out of that?
Not anytime soon. Nothing on the horizon. It's been working for them. They've been happy with it. And I don't think there's been any software out there that they've been able to locate that does what they need it to.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, something's talking about purchase request. You want to spend money?
Yeah, well, do you want to do project first or?
Oh, you can try to-
We have the project, I don't know, this is pretty standard as well, I don't know if anybody has any questions on any of these. We did just complete a couple, we did some pretty significant updates for servers as well as the CAD system. So from a server perspective, we had 2012 servers for the operating system that is end of life in October, and we've replaced them all. So they've all been replaced with new servers and everything's up in good condition. The CAD server, we did some significant work on, including some more lockdown from a security perspective. And one of their servers was also one of them that was in need of upgrade, just a web-facing server. We did have a meeting, just for your information. The CAD vendor, which is now called Caliber, was on site with us last week. They came out and actually met with us in person, and we had some discussion. We had some pretty significant challenges with the application and with the vendor. So just to let you know that we did have a meeting.
And I think that. I remember that list that you sent out, there was some stuff that was promised to us when we originally went to the software that had not been included yet. So. The other item was, I was thinking about in that line, there was a project to take a look at replacements for Caliber.
Yep, and I know that the public safety and the sheriff's office are working on that to set up some demos, and once they do, it's really, what's gonna work best for them, and then from a technology perspective, we can vet the solution to make sure we have everything in place.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of good options out there. Or a few,
There was last time too, but this one's
They're very
a lot
expensive.
less expensive.
right, it was, sometimes you get what you pay for.
Well, we couldn't turn down to see what happened.
Well, and from everything I've heard and seen, it does a lot of things that other software doesn't. And although it was a painful road getting there, I think they're in a reasonable place. With a new vendor, it's just been very challenging with some of the challenges we've had. And I'm hopeful that, they did take the time to come and meet with us in person. So I'm hopeful that, maybe as the future goes on, things might be a little bit better. But I do still think we need to look to shift.
Well, it's nice it came from Indiana, right?
No, North Carolina,
North
that's
Carolina.
where one of them was, yeah,
I think part of it was, it's been going on for quite a while, and it should have been earlier.
agreed.
Okay, any other questions? Moving on.
Okay, so the last thing from a purchasing perspective is we have a software that is what we call our RMN, it's remote monitoring and management, as well as our ticketing system, they're all integrated together. The vendor itself, it's not a contract purchase, they're not on contract. We didn't think, in the past, we've done sole source for them, but we didn't think that it was a good fit for sole source. I wanted to bring to request a waiver from the purchasing policy. $26,000 is the yearly cost on it. It is in our budget and everything, so there's no money or anything needed. But it's software that's very specific to what we do, and all there are other people that do it, they do them in different ways. And it would be a big deal for us to change, and the cost of this is actually less than what a lot of the other ones are that offer it. So we thought the best way after copying the purchasing was to request a waiver from the purchasing policy. That purchase this year.
Entertain a motion. by Tim, second by Cassie. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anything else come in front of committee? And we are adjourned.
Thank you all.
You know that. Yeah. Okay. Keep going. There you go. All right, we'll call the government ops meeting to order. First thing up is to accept the minutes from the September 19th meeting. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dan, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carry.
Got a good program.
Next thing up, Matt. You're first on the agenda.
So first is the update on the Fort Ann DPW farm. Everything seems to be going good. I believe in the next month, we're gonna be ready to actually go out to bid on the project. I don't have a date yet, but my goal would be in the next month, so I'm bringing it to this meeting. I don't know if we usually do permission to go out to bid for a project, or I just let you know, but it'll give us our real price on the project. There is some things that are gonna happen in the background that's not gonna affect when it goes out to bid, and that's getting the last stuff, the property transfers done. That's just in-house with Roger and Fort Ann. Did the environmental stuff. So we're pretty much ready. I think there's we're gonna be a license agreement with National Grid to go underneath. We have all the engineering that they require done to get that permit. So it's a matter of just submitting it, which will happen probably this week. There's no reason to believe that they won't give it to us. It's a common thing. It's just a practice they do. By time construction would happen, which would be next year. We'd have to come in. And if it didn't come, there's another way to sue that doesn't need it. So it's not like it's hinging the project. So if anybody has any questions, it's everything that we've discussed for seems like 10 years, but it's probably 2. The project is just what it is, and I think that the town is ready. I say we're ready.
Motion sent up on the bid.
Moved by Matt, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Say aye, Dave.
Opposed? Carry.
The next, we had concerns from some Lake Lauderdale residents on the sonar usage, which the sonar is the leak control for milfoil is the main target. It is done every 3 years. So last year, it was done in May of 2022. It was timed at a specific time of year. Us as a landowner there, we usually bring it to committee, and we usually spend about $3,000 to the association for their $32,000 project every 3 years. that we're drinking these. So we had a concerned resident that we were killing everything in the lake. You know, all the good weeds along with the bad weeds. They had, some decent concerns anyways, and I think we should take them. I know we don't have to vote whether we fund it again. I asked whether we had funded it this year, whether it wasn't this year, it was last year. We helped fund it. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know, the actual effects of it on the lake. You can just visual observation, of what's going on. So I did call the Lake Association guy that's in charge of sonar to kind of get his feedback on it. It is licensed by DEC. It is an oversight committee, is the DEC. Kevin McCarty is the licensed applicator. He's from Gansford. Chemicals made by CPRO. They've been doing it since 1997. It's kind of a sticky situation between both sides, what they're using it for. Just bringing it to your attention now. Our only recourse, I mean, I could be wrong, is whether we gave the 3,000, which wouldn't be up until 2025 again. Just so you know, we're getting I think Jay's got some complaints. We'll get both sides of it, sitting here. I just kind of getting the most facts I can about it. But if anybody has concerns or ideas, go ahead, Bob.
Did anybody contact DEC?
Well, I have to imagine that she probably did, or he or they did.
Yeah, they're trying to set up a whole lake association over there.
So there is, and we're kind of stuck in the middle.
Right.
And
We're in the middle of everything at Fogdale, but if they should have had someone going, at Cassiuna, they come and actually look at it, make sure they're following the label instructions.
they
and all that.
do have to do certain tests that they send to lab, I forget the lab's name, but they can only,
As far as we're concerned, we're glad, because it makes everything out on the beach. We don't have any weeds.
we don't have any, but at the same time, we're, conscious of the
Right.
lake health, so we don't want to sterile lake by any means. But there is a lot of controversy back and forth, and my own opinion is that we should be concerned, there's a certain level of concern. It is the environment. We don't want to be part of doing something that is not good, but we probably follow the ECC. They're the professionals. I mean, I'm not a professional in lake chemicals, or I don't know if anybody here is, but for right now,
Maybe we get a copy of their context. Take a look at it.
yeah, so it's 2025, it'd be before it's treated again, yeah, so 3 years, 22, May 22. They have to do it in a certain time frame in the spring. But before we do give our $3,000 or whatever they ask for, we probably should have some answers or whatever, because that'll be the time where either side is gonna say, well, you as a county are supporting or not supporting this treatment. Right now, there's nothing, because if there is done, it's for 3 years, so I don't think there's any action needed, but it is a concern, and if somebody, I'll probably look into it more. I'll probably get a hold of DEC just so we have some facts based on it.
Jay,
Matt, somebody said, and I'm not an expert either, that there may be some newer choices of chemicals that don't wipe out everything quite so bad. Don't know if
There could
everybody
be.
looked into that.
Yeah, there could be.
There's some newer alternatives to sonar. I don't know where they are in the permitting process. But there's some different alternatives, but again, we're contributing based on our lake footage to the association as requested. Beaches that we have, folks that are doing the application, not us, and we're hardly providing. And there are many years we didn't provide anyone for it, quite frankly, they did it without us. It was only fairly recently that we decided to participate, so. I think this is a interlink struggle that they need to resolve amongst themselves. You definitely want to know that you're contributing to somebody who's licensed, approved, to apply it. I don't want somebody who throws off the back of the boat. That doesn't appear to be the case. It's all permitted. And so each year, and I said this when we decided to get involved in it, you see paperwork that goes behind each application. But it's behind before we get the money, we go straightforward to do it.
Like I've been burned in effigy up over there.
Oh,
Maybe like the county attorneys are advising us to do, we gotta pay some attention to the secret. Thanks, man.
I can only say, just across the border, Lake St. Catherine, Vermont, 25 years ago, they had a machine called Hungry Harvey who would come and cut all those weeds. And then they bring this huge pile of crap up on and have to dispose of that. And it appeared year to year, the more they cut them, the next year they came back a little more prolific. So, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, they started using the sonar. And it's cleaned the lake up. It's still a great lake, very clean water. The fishing is still very, very good. Really no negative impacts that we can tell. Most of the lake people are transitional people, so when they put it in May, they usually don't get there till June, so we don't have that kind of conflict. But I would say it has been incredibly successful.
so.
And no negative feedback at this point. And the state of Vermont is using it in other lakes now because it's been so good.
The people that are for this have the same success story. The people against it, I'll just show you some of the things that they touch, so you know, like they said, well, the lily pads are now dead. Well, so I did ask the guy, and he's like, well, they do get knocked back, so they turn color. They're not green for a year. They turn them yellow or whatever, like they're dying, and then they bounce back. I'm not there to see that's true. Another complaint was they artificially dammed up the lake down where the beavers, because the beavers didn't have a dam in. See that, you know, so it was low, so when they treated it, they wanted to keep right, they didn't want to send $32,000 of chemical down the Owl Kill. So I don't know how that really works. I mean, I'm not DEC. I think they were made to take it out. I don't know the full story. I did ask him, I said, did you artificially dam up the lake? And he said, yes. I mean, the guy is very honest with me. He said, yes, we did. You know, to prevent the make for that week, and the chemicals were there. The complaint is they do that to make more water, so the bigger folks can run in there. You know, so this is just back and forth. I listen, I take, you know, I just write down the notes. I'm gonna share them with you. I know Jay's gonna hear about it, you know, he does hear about it all the time. Right now, there's not really anything we can really do. We don't regulate the lake. We only have a part, you know, I don't know how that works, right? We don't regulate the lake at all. So it's not like we can say, no, you can't do something, or,
State water.
right? So,
As a former Lake Association officer and member, it's probably the second most thankless job after town supervisor. Because none of the property owners agree on what should be done, and everybody has a different point of where to go, and that's, I guess, and these issues they have to work out there. And we'll see what the results are.
Sure. I expect we may see some permitting differences in 25 anyway, because sonar takes no oil and curly pond, are two biggies. The ones that are coming on, I can't remember the name, figure Roger does, but they're specific to species. So one takes milk oil, one takes curly pond weed, one takes, you know, some other stuff. You'd have to actually go out and survey the lake and see what you were trying to target. So they may be a little more difficult next time to do it anyway.
the one thing we've always asked them, and I personally, I know I've been here for 2 cycles of it now, is that they don't treat when the beach is open, you know, public there. So they do it, and they have a time frame that they have to do it before we're open, you know. That's the only restriction that I've ever asked for right now, so. I think we should just move on. I mean, we don't have to do any action, but it is something to keep in mind if you hear about it or get calls and complaints, and I don't know, and there's Jay with no resolution, but.
But I checked with Matt too, because when they talked about blocking up the exit down through.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it was not Washington County property that they were doing that, you know, and.
I don't think
and
so.
When they raise the water, some of the camp and owners, they lose a lot of frontages that walks back up their beaches and stuff, and I said, that's between your lawyers and the association's lawyers, but I don't want the dam being set up on flashing.
maybe I could take a canoe down through there one of these mornings, this fall. And try to see, I don't know exactly where the dam was, and I don't know if it's still man-made down there, or the beavers gotta back up. I do know that there's not very much water going through our culvert, on the road all year. For the amount of rain we had, the water hasn't been high, which tells me that it's dammed up pretty good up above, and the water is high,
Make sure you take your dump.
right down through there.
We have drone footage, you can take your drone down.
No, that's you're entirely missing.
Sheriff's had those.
We definitely missed the point of me doing
The mayor-
some nice morning.
I thought that was.
I don't have a drone, so I don't know.
It's part of your job.
Jim's got 5 drones.
Did you have a pontoon boat?
That pontoon. little
First
boat
24
bit there.
hours for a week.
All right, the next thing about Lake Lauderdale, I talked to Roger about this, is the gate location. At Lauderdale, the gate location. Right now, it's out by the road. Where there's we have a sign that had the park rules there, but there's no stopping there unless the gate's closed. And we're finding especially weekends, Fridays throughout the summer, or any really time, the traffic backs right out on Route 22 to get in because they can't get in. They all wait at the gate until 11 o'clock open time. I'd like to consider moving the gate all the way back in by the park. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but if you're going in the park road and you go like this, there's 2 big grass areas that are mowed on the right-hand side. I'd like to turn them into stone parking and then have the gate farther up. It would allow our lifeguards to move that shed check that they charge you $2 and they keep all the records of how many people are there for the state, which we have to do right to the gate. And they're within radio shot of the rest of the lifeguards. We've always been hesitant to try to put a gate or put this shack out by the road, because now you're sending, a young teenager all the way out by Route 22 with no contact to everybody that we're working with, I think Roger's comfortable with this. I've talked to him a few times about it. Does anybody have any issues with us moving the gate farther in?
I don't have an issue per se, but the reason that it was stuck out there is so you didn't have people being able to drive in out of sight and then when it vandalize the thing all fall. And drive in and get stuck in the snow,
Well,
that kind of stuff, but.
They're in there now. So I was a proponent of, we've had this discussion in Dresden, when the park's closed, it's open, and when it's open, it's closed.
Yeah.
With the gate. So they're there. Whether we like it or not. So in order to improve the safety aspect, they're using the hiking trails and things like that.
I don't object to that
Yeah.
at all.
So I think
I wasn't
for safety
presenting that as
purposes,
objection, just that was that was
Yeah.
the discussion when it was moved the first time.
and I think we ought to have the sheriff consider, asking him to take a lap if he's going up and down 22 there. But we're not gonna stop folks from going there and parking, so I think we need to do our part to when we get a little safer.
What's the cost gonna be to move that?
so
When you build a new one or when you?
our gate that's there now, I don't know if you've seen it recently, got vandalized, right? When people want to get in, they hook the truck to it and they put a chain around it and they wrenched it and it's kind of cob welded up right now. I would probably build a new gate because of the timing of it. We could possibly move it, but it's already all kind of cobbled together and bent because somebody vandalized it out there. I think if you had it in farther, you wouldn't have the tendency to try to vandalize the gate, because you could get in there and you could go out in hiking trails and whatever, you'd be right within walking distance to where the beach is and everything else. I think it helps with the safety part out by the road. I think it helps our staff. I was up in the air with her. It was a good idea. I've been back and forth 100 times, but I do think the people are using it. So I think at this point, they're going to keep using it. And
If you put a sign on the new gate that says, this gate's been treated with sonar, nobody will touch it and vandalize it.
and I think it gives us a place to put our rules, like the rules of our park, the real signs, like dogs must be leashed. So on the legal end of it, now we have the signage and everything right where you're parking, like right now you put them out there. When you drive into the park. Nobody reads the rules because you're driving right by it, you know, like, and then you get into the park and there's nowhere else to stop, so you'd have to go over to the bathrooms. Right, just to read the rules that are on the side of the building, there's no point there like you would see at a state parking area with here's the, you know, here's the login, or here's this, and here's the rules of this state park, or whatever.
Is it a good idea, Dan?
Well, I'm gonna give you the downside. I mean, whether.
That's why I asked, I knew that was coming.
The people that vandalize that gate where it's at, they're not vandalizing it to get in, to walk their dog or hike a trail. They're vandalizing because they're vandalizers.
Yes, you're right.
So when you allow them to park closer to other things that are better to vandalize, more enjoyable to vandalize, you might be passing the problem on to something way more expensive.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm not opposed to the idea. I think it's safety wise, it's good to get off.
I'll tell you why that got vandalized, because somebody drove in when it was open, parked, and started hiking. And then never came back. They went,
Well, then it really
Right
was
up to the-
vandalized.
right, so now, well, no, they called somebody else rather than calling, you know, anybody else, and
But I think if you're getting vandalization in now in the
You
park,
can't
and I
stop
don't
it.
know how you deal with that.
Jay,
Not that I wanna spend money or anything to talk about vandalization, we put cameras and DPW barns, everyone else can put a camera somewhere and throw it there.
I thought of that
It's the
too.
connect, it's a connected.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not, we have the power, but we.
Well, that's right, you're in Jackson where we have no connection.
Right.
Well, if they vandalize the shed, then. maybe
Sometimes the
it's
fake
easier.
ones work. Can't you put game cams up there?
we use a mobile hotspot right now for our connection out there. I do think that they're talking about. I think Terry is working on what it would take to get connectivity out there to our stuff. I know it's a long haul in, so it might not ever be worth it, you know, but we'll see.
Jim,
Maybe you can put a camera, not put on the gate, security cameras in here.
Sometimes the sign works as good as
Yep.
camera.
And put up a couple of broken cameras, cause if they vandalize them, you don't care.
Yeah, they make fake
No,
ones.
so that's what I mean, just put
Yeah,
up ones that are already wrecked, it'll probably do just as good.
Why don't we discuss that on the public meetings?
I know, I
They
mean,
will have a
let's-
Cause then they'll look to see if it's real or not.
So,
I was over near the camp that is on the other side of the, like, not all the way in from 22.
Yep,
And my internet access and ability to connect was pretty good.
Yeah, there is
If you wanna
cell phone
come in from the other way.
yeah,
I don't know if that's feasible or not.
probably about halfway on both ways.
In the meantime, the amount of the park is being used, which is, I think that's the intent,
Right,
is for it to be used in healthy living and walks and
Yep.
wellness and just recreation. I think that you're doing a great job down there. I love seeing people using it. The trails are fabulous. You know, and so the one person that's vandalizing the fence post, you know, that gate's gotta be a few years. old. I don't think we're gonna do it.
no,
You know, maybe it's time it was replaced anyways.
Yeah.
Dan,
Now, I'm gonna muddy the waters one more time, then I'm gonna stop.
Is that a fun?
How many accidents have occurred on 22 in front of that gate?
well, I
Well-
shouldn't say that because that's not a fact. I know
Well,
that.
but here's the thing, anytime the state changes an intersection, it's all based on the number of accidents. Now, we've got, you're discussing moving a gate, that there has been no recorded accidents to our knowledge. To create another gate, spend money where we might increase potential for more vandalism. Are we looking for a problem by doing it, or are we're not solving anything, and I just wonder if it's worth it, that's all. I mean, if we have no problem on 22,
I've
although,
gone through it all, Dan, I've gone both ways,
Yeah.
that work, my opinion is it's worth it, that's why I brought it here.
Dave,
I'll move it. Second.
moved by Dave, seconded by Tim.
Did you move the motion or move the gate?
He's a-
I thought you were volunteering to go out and do it.
Moving it is moving.
And I don't know when my guys are gonna even be able to get to move it, if it's, I mean, it might not even happen immediately, but. If it's an okay, I would put it on the schedule, yes, you know,
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No, you're not opposed, or no, you are opposed?
Whereas
Carried,
he's
Anything else?
taking half state place today.
I know. Was Matt's turn.
That's what I have to bring here. Questions? Anything else going on? Oh, yeah.
You're sharing.
That's the band.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Roger's into proactive prevention of issues, which is.
Okay.
It's gonna be.
Tom, Board of
It
Elections.
won't happen now, but we'll never know, right, Roger?
His agenda items have changed.
The insurance.
But you won't lower our insurance premium.
No, but it does make.
We
the
can get the
work.
price back to the state, so.
Is the youth working on the.
On our part, then.
How many accidents?
Move on, Dan, you lost.
Take it.
I'm just killing time between.
Killing time or killing us, what it kills. Okay, Tom. Tom has a budget transfer he'd like to ask for.
Yes, we have the grant money in different locations on a 2 and a 4, and we overspent on the 2. But I told them $12,000, so we're gonna transfer some on the 4. Cover that right now.
You better for some or all.
Might as well do all, because what we're looking in the future would be all 2s.
So moves that way.
Moved by Dave. Seconded by Dan. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's it. All I
I have a question.
Yes.
When does early voting start?
want. Saturday.
This Saturday?
Yeah, 9
Wow.
o'clock.
And what are, you know, people ask me, when is it available? Every day, all day, some days?
Saturday and Sunday are 9 to 5.
Wow.
Monday and Wednesday are from noon to 8. Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are 9 to 5. On the website. Call us. We're 11:53 going in the big old gym, all set up. And, we're ready to go. So you're not bringing up the other enemy?
No, I said
No,
that right from
We're
the
not
start.
ready for that.
For the sake of the record, what's it cost us to do it? Ballpark.
We open for 9 days. 8 hours each day with 4 employees. At $14.40 an hour. The math isn't that good in my head, but it's a couple $1,000. Yes,
Several.
so
72 hours, 4 people is 288 hours, at approximately $15
40,
an hour, 7,000.
Day.
you're really good.
Great effort.
Straight down as you were saying.
And then Benny's probably 500.
That's just personnel costs.
Yeah.
There's advertising, there's all kinds of.
Yeah, newspaper ads, things like that.
Electric
And
bill.
there's a real push to, by the political people to push early voting. Encourage more and more in both parties for early voting, to get out there and vote.
With the new machines, right?
Which is very good for those people, so they can prognosticate about what's going on and try and convince other people to vote. But 75 cents a piece for absentee ballots.
Oh, more than that, because when we mail it out, we have to guarantee postage and mail it back. Two more.
Yeah, I don't. But it's not much more.
And we got a permit.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Hey, Tom, when it's over with, dust all settled, can you give us a report on how many people actually did their early voting?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we
You
can do
did
that.
last year, didn't you?
Yeah. we
it'd
can
be
do
good
that.
to know how successful that is,
Yeah.
or.
You know, and this is a better test, with what we did with early voting in June, that was only a conservatives. It's really gave you-
Right. This one here should be a good.
This should be a good, and it should be more, it should grow,
Always grow.
yeah, it'll grow.
Now, presidential next year. Yeah, so that, this
Uh,
would be kind of a good run up to the presidential.
Presidential primary is April 2nd, and then primary in June, depending on, presidential candidates are still in there.
Be a miracle if anybody's left standing to have a primary.
It's gonna be fun. Good?
Yep.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. No,
I
Okay.
changed it for the primary, I changed my pick 3 times.
Okay.
We'll do 3 more.
Before we get into Laura, Melissa, I'm just gonna let you all saw the email. Laura Chadwick's last day will be on the 29th of December and her position will be in the Living Committee.
Well, so I'd like to, I don't know if I need to make a motion, but we don't have personnel for a couple of weeks plus. We want to get moving on this. So I don't know, do I want to make a motion that we tell Danielle to start the process today, advertising the whole 9 yards? Or do I just informing them that that's what she's doing? That's what she's doing. We're not gonna screw around and wait 2.5 weeks before we get going. So she's gonna start the process. Danielle has all the requirements, the background, any changes since Laura was picked. All right, there's something about you have so many months to, if you short a couple of the,
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, this is one of the positions that New York State actually has requirements. For, just like the probation director. I think we had another one as well, but we have to go through the state, and the application for the person that you actually choose to go into that position has to be approved by the state. So, Danielle will be working closely with her contact there to make sure that whatever applicants, we get and are interested in hiring, are vetted through the state and they approve as well.
Public health is the other one, right?
Yes, yep. Public health is
so we're starting the process. Well, we started yesterday. So we're getting the ball rolling and move on that as fast as we can to try to have somebody in place for the first of the year.
Sue,
I agree with that. Have to go further, like the public health, I think we were able to set up parameters where they hadn't reached certain personal goals that needed to be done.
The state allowed us to do that,
Yeah.
and hopefully, you know, depending on if we approve, if we have issues there, maybe they will be able to do that in this case as well.
did you have something to add, Brian?
Yeah, so attended an assessing meeting in
White
White
Creek.
Creek, well, I was actually in Cambridge address.
Village.
It was at the American
Village.
Legion.
Oh, then it was Jackson.
It was in Jackson.
Cambridge.
Yeah, you did a lot of traveling,
It
didn't you?
was a very good, it was the same place even. But it was a very good meeting, but what they brought up was some of the rules have changed on agent exemptions and all that. And so maybe the parameters have changed. So I've asked Laura if she would present in December, because if we're in the middle of hiring somebody, we haven't got them. There's a period where you have to have a public hearing and change everything. We just need to know the information as to whether we want to change anything. And not try that and the new person on the first day of March, when March 1st is the deadline. I just want.
Change the exemptions, not
If you
change.
want
the-
to change the exemption,
Okay.
yeah, I just want the information earlier, just in case there's something we do want to do or don't want to do and have that out explained to us. I've asked whether it happens.
Okay. Give our attention to
Jackson in the
Melissa.
village.
First item I have, and it's actually attached to your agenda, is the fixed asset policy that was passed by the board back in September 16th, 2004. There's a depreciation schedule that is listed there. After much discussion, we would like to add the DSS vehicles to what was originally stated as the police. So I'd like to change police to sheriff, which is more fitting for what we have, and add DSS vehicles so that their useful life for both are 3 years.
I'll move it. Second.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Tim. Is there any other opinion that any of the other ones need to be changed while we're here?
No, it's based on the utilization and how many miles that are put on the DSS cards are very comparable to that of the sheriff's office cars. So that's why we would like to change that and put those in as 3. And this will need a board resolution to change the policy.
I meant were any of the other things?
No.
Nobody else? No. Matt?
We bought a bunch of DSS cars through the grant.
Yeah.
Like a dozen.
Through the normal funding, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was OFA, yes.
OFA.
Yeah,
Oh, a year ago.
couple years.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, been 2.
22.
If we hadn't purchased those, they would use cars out of carpool.
So they replaced fleet cars that we have.
They replaced OFA fleet cars.
Yeah, that were
Okay, so they didn't affect carpool at all.
And those went.
No,
Well, it
no, they
did in a
got
positive,
sold, they were, I think,
it did in a positive way.
They were old. They were old and then left them out. I
Okay.
think they were, I think they're mostly.
But they're fleet, okay.
Okay, Dan, you were next and then Jim.
Okay, what is improvements, 15 years for improvements? Because it's separate from the building stuff.
I don't know.
Well, but I mean, what kind of improvement? I guess I don't understand.
Any-
That's so general.
New rear handlers on top of the sheriff's department. Or whatever supervisors request.
An improvement to an
Those
existing
guys go,
building.
You guys were already welcome along before.
You just got a compliment, Nate. You're gonna be an improvement.
It could be a main.
Just saying.
Could be a new area.
The state can't even get 50 years out of their bridges, and now we're supposed to get 50 out of ours.
That's why I was asking, where anything else has to be changed?
And the depreciation schedule is just used for the annual, for the
It's based
reporting
on
based on GASB.
state law, there we go.
Yeah.
That's why we can't change
We
it.
can invite Mr. Brown back if you want to discuss that. Schedule.
Yeah.
We can pump those numbers right up.
You said, Dan.
I could do that.
Okay. Jim,
I was just wondering, Melissa, do you know the average number of miles in a Shannon vehicles?
I just received the reporting on that and had not looked at it yet to be able to tell you the answer. I just requested that from Deb and she was able to get that to me because I was interested to see how many miles we're putting on all of the vehicles in a year.
Yeah.
I don't know annually how many there are going on there, but I know from past conversations with the sheriff's cars usually end up with over 100,000 miles on it, pretty close to it. When they're just,
That's not uncommon at all.
We tried to change it because they were getting 156.
So for capital assets, it would flip out of the sheriff and DSS vehicles and then come back to 3 years and go into all of the vehicles and give another 4 years for capital assets. That's the way it works. Now take take one car that's been in capital assets in the sheriff DSS vehicles for 3 years. Okay, then if they don't sell it, it goes into carpool. You pick up an additional 4 years off that vehicle for assets.
This is only for an
They're
appreciation.
totally depreciated. Yeah. nothing wrong with
The asset.
Okay.
You get appreciated.
No, they're just stay fully appreciated,
fully appreciated.
fully appreciated.
They're done.
Anybody else have a question or a comment?
No one else.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, carried.
next, I wanted to mention, probably 2 or 3 months ago, the chairman brought to my attention a request we received from New York State Commissioner for the Office of General Services. And they sent an invitation to each county in the state requesting an ornament to put on the governor's reception area holiday tree. So we actually submitted an ornament that we had made up. It turned out really nice. I don't have one to show you because we sent it in. But it is of the Buskirk Bridge over the water. We put a sign on there, Washington County, New York, and it came out really nice. We submitted it. We received a letter saying how beautiful it was. So that will be on the holiday tree this holiday. When we put up November. Possible.
They haven't turned it over yet, Chairman.
Well, that was,
No more mandates.
I would like to compliment Melissa and her staff for that, because this came through, and I said, hey, we ought to do this, and won't it happen? So that was, you guys
Yeah,
did well.
Well, let's
Now,
have
you can't really
it's not.
see it very well, but we have Christy in my office really worked hard on getting this submitted, but it came out beautiful and it's two-sided. It really, the picture doesn't even do it justice. We're pretty proud of that. It was under $30, so
Nice job.
if you want to see it, I'll have it in my office too. Look at it. And then next on my agenda, I wanted to bring up the Washington County sign that's out front. As you know,
with that before she hits the sign.
She's getting good at the job, isn't she?
Oh. I bought you all an ornament, no. So the Washington County sign that's out front is falling apart. Matt had brought that to a government ops meeting several months ago. The plan is to take that sign down and replace it. So because we had funding that came in from tribal ARPA, it was an amount of $50,000 that the board has already approved $25,000 at a time at 2 different Board of Supervisors meetings to put that money into lines under county administration for electronic sign. Okay, it was already labeled, it's already been approved by the board. I came to you last month asking for a waiver to the procurement policy only for the installation of the sign. Okay, I already had the funding for the sign, you've already approved that. I was looking for a waiver just to have the sign installed. That's
By the sign maker, because
Right.
they know what they're doing to put it together.
correct.
Okay.
So that was the amount of $12,000. So in the last committee, it kind of went, I guess, a little off track, where not only was the waiver not approved, there also was not a consensus on purchasing the sign. So I guess I'm looking for some direction from you.
You,
On the
you've
next-
already got the approval from the money, right?
Already got approval.
Sign.
The board
But not installing it.
So, no, they have, she has money for installing it also.
The
Yeah, it's
actual
all
sign
included.
itself.
It's all included.
Is from NICID, so that is actually a preferred vendor. So I don't need, or it's not required to get approval to purchase that sign. I just need the approval to waive the procurement policy to be able to have it installed.
I'll make that motion. We already have the money. I'll second it. We already have the money for both that, and it's money that's not coming out of taxpayers' pocket.
That's correct.
And if we don't spend it on the sign, we don't get it.
We lose it.
Yes,
Some
well,
other kind-
no, I'm sorry, we can use the funding for something else if you'd rather. I just thought that because this was an opportunity for us to not have to budget that amount, I think that putting messaging on the sign up front will help the public. Know if we have different events going on, if there's something going on over the point, early voting, prime example, that would be great messaging.
Paint day.
If there's a building paint day, the recycling, yes.
So simplified, all you need is a waiver for the procurement policy.
Correct.
That's all you-
And I just would like clarification or something from the committee that you approved.
Motion is to waive the procurement policy.
You've got it.
Right now.
Right now, there's a motion. Is there a second?
There's a motion and a second, moved by Jason.
Now we're discussing the motion to waive the procurement policy
Any further
for
discussion?
installation.
I missed the last meeting, so the 25,000, is that just the sign or is that 25,000 included?
I received 2 payments of $25,000 for a total of $50,000.
Right, but I thought 25 was for the sign and 25 was for something else.
Actually, there's another $50,000 that Laura Oswald had gotten, right? So it's a total of
So it was
$100,000.
25.
So we're up to 100,000.
It was $100,000 that came to Washington County.
Well, all I need to know is what's the cost of the sign?
Oh,
Install.
It's gonna come
100,000?
close to the $50,000, close to $50,000.
50 for the
For
sign.
the sign, for the installation, everything. I have enough money right now that's allocated. I'm afraid if I wait a few more months, that's price is gonna go up and I won't have enough money to. purchase.
So you're talking like 37 for the sign, 12 for the install?
Correct. And then there's some work that Buildings and Grounds is going to do so that you don't have to pay for that for the excavation.
Now, does that include all the software now that's gonna have to go through IT?
It
Because
includes
that,
everything.
you gotta program that, right?
It includes everything.
Well,
Call the question.
Jay. Or Jay has his hand
Not them disagreeing or not, but with the sign controversy, I was down with the Legion. You've seen it, Cassie, they have a new sign, it's beautiful, got all the colors got. I said, what did this cost? And the guy that did it said 25,000. They get, the Legions have some in around the country where they can. And they installed themselves, they can even, you can run it from the cell phone, if you got, you can set it up. It was 25,000 for the sign, they did it themselves.
So that. Yeah.
And when did they buy it?
It might be
They
small.
just got it here.
And
This
one
was
thing I
pretty big.
learned,
This is a pretty good size.
hundreds of different
Yeah.
types of electronic signs. I didn't realize it's not just, oh, yeah, I wanted 9x10, but there are all kinds of different. So this was the price we got. If we did check with one other vendor, they said they couldn't even touch this price that that came through NICEAD. So they didn't even want to really come show us their signs because they said they couldn't even compete. So it seems to be a good sign. They came and did a demo. We were happy with it.
What is the warranty on
That I just don't know. Don't know.
I call the question.
I know. So Dave, we'll go. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That's a motion for the waiver.
It's only
That's
a
surprising.
It only requires
me.
video.
Right.
At least I've seen it again, that's
That's
it.
So you see the new sign up.
Right.
We're done with that.
I think we're done.
I haven't always-
Here's my sign. Okay.
We have we're down to other. Anybody have any other business? Roger?
I haven't always. So, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, after all the problems we've had, but it's my intention to not see reappointment next year as well. That gives you 67 days and 14 hours, but we're actually approaching 13 hours. to find a
Matt,
replacement.
good year.
Are you saying you're retiring? Is that
I'm
what you're trying to
saying
say?
I will not seek reappointment next year.
He's gonna
If
become
it
a Harley
requires
guy.
longer than that, I could just walk out the door and leave you like.
And isn't that lawyer ease, or he's not asking to be reappointed, but doesn't mean we still can't do it.
If nominated, I will not run if elected.
Yeah, but at least we'll have someone in the spot.
What's that?
Well, you're not here.
On Saturday.
Okay,
Well, no, it's Sherman who said that. General Sherman? Yeah. that's
No,
a
but
civil
there
war.
was some comedian on Saturday.
I'm gonna call on the chairman, he's probably not part of the history
There was
lesson.
no certified one.
Given that, which I sort of said here, but given that, do we now direct Danielle to go just like she's doing on the.
Yeah.
That's my question.
I think we'll start recruiting
Immediately.
members. Yes.
Those requirement qualifications are,
Licensed attorney who's a resident of the county.
that's it. Do we want to modify that? No. We
I'd say we start out by not modifying.
No, I don't know, I mean, if you're advertising for a county attorney, you're probably gonna get 900.
But he doesn't have any, you have open positions, you're not getting 900 applications. I don't know,
They gotta be there somewhere.
gotta be there somewhere.
I don't know what you're doing.
We're gonna be in Florida while we're
Okay,
waiting about it.
if the appetite is not to fighting that up, then fine, we'll go ahead and do
Do
it.
we need to address the qualifications and the minimum and all that stuff now, or is it, she has all that base and requirements and?
I think it's a good time for Danielle to reach out to Roger and just discuss, because it might be very dated,
That's what I'm wondering.
Not that it's dated, but it's been- the job is
Like Roger has stated.
For a long time.
Oh, no, it's not yet.
Salary 30,000.
I would say though, Roger's had a vacancy in his department for a year, almost 2 years. So attorneys don't seem to be, there's not a lot of them out there that are really applying, at least here. So I don't know that we want to make the job description any tighter.
The
than
job
it
description is
qualifications.
the statutory job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Licensed attorney, experienced and usable, the same one I applied under, and I had 4 years of experience.
I just thought, just trusted the earth and then cooled back on you. You know. Advertised for you, I wondered if we wanted to update it. We know.
But Danielle and Roger will have some discussions and she'll start the process, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I dare ask this question, because we are going into budget season, Mr. Campbell, do we, is the salary gonna be okay?
No, the base is the base.
Do we need to
We've
move
already
that?
passed that law. It's a local law. The base is the base.
I know, but
I was
it's
enjoying when you hired the
budget.
new guy more than you paid the old guy.
Yes,
my
comment relates.
I
Oh,
don't think it needs to be adjusted.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Melissa, but now it's a requirement that a salary range be given, correct? All advertisements.
We have,
Losing 30 years of experience, we should start the next person lower.
Who were we talking about before when I said that?
that's why you have, a step schedule. Starting at base and going up, which used to be a dartboard when I first started here, it was like, how much we want to pay this year?
Still is.
So there is a system. We'll have to make that decision when you see why.
So at some point, the personnel committee will be asking for a subcommittee to interview real property director and a subcommittee to interview.
Subcommittee.
We did it as all.
We don't have a quorum.
We
That's
do
what we
it
did before.
regular
Did we do it
committee.
with the sewer? We did it with the sewer.
No.
Usually
Yeah.
personnel.
Sewer district was done because the commissioners.
Right.
Yeah, I interviewed with all
No,
17. of
it was
these
you and I and-
Right, but that was just because
Because
the
the
commissioners were
commissioners.
gonna be involved instead of the board. That was-
The rest of it, we've
Okay.
done the full board.
The full personnel committee?
Well, aren't we
Okay.
allowed to do
Well-
interviews and
We used to do
Executive
it
session.
through the oversight committee.
we can do.
Then we went through doing it through the personnel committee, but we have been here too long, but we did do it during the oversight committee
Okay.
first and then.
Okay,
We can do them in executive session.
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's
And
good.
I just checked
the
the.
final award for you is to fix it. To do two of them.
Hey, Roger, 67 days goes pretty fast, doesn't it?
So you better step up. You can go even faster if you want.
We got 13 hours yet?
So when I interviewed in front of the full board and I believe 5 or 6 incoming supervisors as well, they're conducted after November. Who were invited to be in the executive session. Which is allowable, so the folks that are gonna, will be elected at that point. Can be invited to participate as well, because they'll be the ones voting in January or whenever.
And it's good to get them indoctrinated. To see how we.
Yeah,
how-
so I interviewed
We
with
want to
20
hire somebody. We don't have a lot of people work.
20 some odd people in the room.
I like it.
I still remember it.
How about shadowing?
Well, that's a good test to see if you can hold up.
Yeah, well. Or how dumb I was. So yeah, they're done, they can be done, and we know we're gonna have a certain amount of turnover, those folks can be invited. It's part of these things, if you choose to be on such a session, because as we know. Don't have to have it.
Yeah.
Getting back, we're talking back and forth between Hunter and Laura's position. Does Laura's position have to be filled January 1st? Requirement.
I would think we need somebody to perform those duties.
You need an act.
Right.
Remember the first.
Well, the only reason I'm saying that is a little less urgency with Roger, because he says he won't leave us high and dry. So maybe we don't appoint him, but he's willing to say to get the job done, is what he's saying.
Until the first real storm when he.
Right,
sorts
yeah.
it out.
If you do not appoint anybody on January 2nd. I hold over until.
Right.
he appoints them.
But does that work with the state for real property?
No.
See,
I
so
don't know
that,
these.
so there's one that's really more urgent than the other.
Well, there was one of the questions you were gonna ask the state was.
Well, this is, yeah, Danielle's working with the states. She's gonna have all those requirements. She's gonna report that to personnel. She has that contact information, so
Yeah,
she's gonna
yeah.
make sure that we are in compliance with everything.
And
that
since
they-
I still have the floor, I want to be the first one to thank Roger for his dedicated service.
And I want to apologize, Roger, for missing that pun on Friday. Right, I apologize.
That was the last straw.
I
I just wonder when you guys miss it or you didn't go over them.
Expect them, you don't expect them from it.
So,
I was laughing at you, I agree with the fun going back and forth to the reaction.
I know.
Pat's reaction was beautiful. And I'm thinking, oh my God.
Clueless.
well, sometimes I start laughing, I'm like, no, guess nobody heard that, or I heard it wrong. I forget,
No,
everybody
no,
is hearing
I'm not gonna
it.
say about it. You have to go back and watch the YouTube.
Okay,
you have to
Melissa
watch
has
it
the floor.
I
live.
just
Yeah,
wanted to answer,
that's for-
Supervisor
get the
Fisher,
full-
you
Like the
did.
full.
Yeah.
Melissa has the floor.
Supervisor Nolan, I did get clarification, so with the position, Roger's position, it'll be advertised as the base salary
up to what the current county attorney is looking at. So that's what will be on the
Range.
range.
And she'll have them both for us a week from Thursday.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
2 weeks.
In the meantime, Bob is shoring up his legal.
Legal skills.
and his assessment skills, right?
Well, not, yeah, my assessing stuff, too, I'm really getting good at that.
do I dare ask if there's any others to come before the house? Okay, we're adjourned.